Next, here to talk about his experience of hosting TED Talks and being a participant in multiple marathons is Dean. Take it away, Dean.
Hey guys, everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Perfect. And I don't think it's very fair to put me after Clay. That was that was great. As a guy who appreciates a really good dad joke, Clay, I'm gonna steal a couple of those and torment my daughters. But hi, I'm Dean. I'm from the Martinsdale area, so just south of Des Moines, about 20 minutes, and father of 3 daughters, 48. And I'm a T5 complete after a hay bale fell off my tractor about 8.5 years ago. And I don't know, how do you follow up some of the speakers that have gone already. But it's interesting, as I was listening to some of the most recent conversations about the ADA law and so on, I can't help but to think of how my accident has actually opened up a lot of doors for me, which might sound really bizarre. But as was mentioned, I've had an opportunity to take a skill with some public speaking that I typically would perform as a part of my profession as an IT computer programmer professional, and stand in front of crowds and do presentations about our work, and found a way to transition that into the journey that the last 8.5 years has really brought forward with me. And along those lines, ended up being lucky enough to be selected to do a TED Talk about that journey. And I know for me, simply attending a TED event where you have so many inspiring conversations going on, let alone be on stage, was crazy. Just crazy, just one of those things. But I think the interesting thing that really is the point of where I think things have been open doors for me is that I found a way, through support of so many other people, to just take each day little by little and focus on me, and very selfishly, and that's not meant to be that I'm ignoring others, but I'm so thankful that I've been able to find a way to work on what I need to work on to progress, and not worry about comparing myself to others in terms of what they're able to accomplish. So what, I'm in a wheelchair. So what, I can't walk. I've also done a Boston Marathon. So what, right? So I think there's ways to find a way to accept the reality of what I'm in, and then blow the doors off everything and just go achieve as much as I want to achieve. And so, if you get a chance, I saw the link got put into the conversation. If you have 12 minutes of your day to watch the TED Talk and understand my story, you'll find out that it really comes down to a general approach that I have with only taking into account the things that I'm going after, and not worrying about how well somebody else does with them. And I use the idea of my participation in marathons to speak to that. So as I start working through the things that I work on, as an example, I know that some of my friends are the best in the world in their wheelchair racing. I mean, world record holders that I can call friends, luckily. And if I try to do what they are trying to do, there's no way that I would even go after. In fact, if I was walking, I wouldn't be running a marathon. I can promise you that. But just knowing that I can get a little bit better every day, and I can focus on myself a little bit every day, and not worry about what everybody else is doing. I think over time, I start to gain some momentum in terms of how I can continue to achieve what I need to achieve. And as a result, the story is about racing, if you will, but it's really more about how I can be a better parent and a better teammate and a better husband. There's so many things that I think, even in today's world with the pandemic, that are applicable, that it's just a real easy thing for me to do, to simply stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. Stop worrying about if somebody's going to like what I posted on Facebook, or somebody's going to respond a certain way. I'm going to take care of me. And as a result, I think I can be a better person for everybody else in that matter. And so, maybe just one more thing before I wrap up. As I've been doing more and more podcasts lately and speaking to people, one of the things that keeps coming up about the pandemic, and I kind of want to challenge folks a little bit on the call that, this thing didn't ask for our permission. And just like our injuries didn't ask if it was okay for that to happen, it just happened. I didn't ask for gravity to be invented by Isaac Newton. I should blame him, right? And have a hay bale fall on and snap my spine. But it's happened. And so COVID has happened. And I think it would be a huge mistake if we sit around and wait any longer to get some things accomplished. It would be a shame if we wake up 3 or 4 months from now and realize 10 months have passed and we haven't accomplished anything. And so even though COVID has arrived and hasn't asked our permission to get going on things, you also don't have to wait for permission to go do things. So as an example, I had certainly cut down a lot of my race training because all of the marathons were canceled this year. But we still went out and did a workout today. And as much as things have been scaled back, my challenge to you is don't lose ground just because of this pandemic. Certainly you have to wear a mask, and I totally get that. But find those things that you've been wanting to do and go after them. And so with that, certainly share my information, Jen, if you will. And if people want to talk and get a little more in depth and simply just want somebody to talk to about how to get unstuck, reach out, and I'll be glad to get engaged. But thanks again for having me today.
Thank you so much for sharing, and I hope people take the opportunity to watch the TED Talk and get in contact with you, because you're one of those motivators that show what you can do.
Anytime.